right, welcome back in here to LiveNOW from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. Let's turn our attention right now to Chicago. And although people have already seen the video coming out of Midway Airport, the near miss, it's still hard to fathom that this happened earlier on today with a Southwest flight avoiding a collision coming in, descending there onto the runway, ultimately to reascend after this near miss with a private jet that is passing through the runway. So a scary sight there out of the Windy City. Of course, we're following more about it here on LiveNOW from Fox. Let's bring into the conversation right now Paris Schutz, Fox 32 reporter. Paris, thank you so much for joining us here on LiveNOW from Fox. What can you tell us about what happened at Midway today?
Well, Andy, investigations are underway this evening as we here at Fox 32 Chicago obtained audio that appears to show the pilot of this private jet not heeding the warnings of air traffic control to stay off the runway where the Southwest 737 plane was about to land. It nearly led to catastrophe. Take a look. Video captures the plane about to land at 8:50 a.m. when the pilots see a private jet entering the runway. They reverse course and quickly lift off.
Southwest 2504 going around.
2504, roger that, climb maintain 3000.
Air traffic control instructs the plane to circle back around after coming within seconds of a potential collision. One passenger on board reached out to Fox 32 over X to describe what happened. Quote, "As we're landing and we're past the border wall by Midway's runways," he says, "everyone is getting ready for a standard landing. Then suddenly we hear the thrust of the engines and we're back in the air. Everyone was confused, but the pilot came on to say what happened. First-rate job of handling the situation by them. So much so, it felt like a non-event." The NTSB and FAA say they're investigating. In a statement, the FAA says, quote, "The crew of Southwest Airlines Flight 2504 initiated a go-around when a business jet entered the runway without authorization at Chicago Midway Airport." A similar statement from Southwest, quote, "Southwest Airlines Flight 2504 landed safely at Chicago Midway Airport on Tuesday morning after the crew performed a precautionary go-around to avoid a possible conflict with another aircraft that entered the runway. The crew followed safety procedures and the flight landed without incident." And new audio obtained by Fox 32 appears to show air traffic controllers telling the private plane, Flexjet Flight 560, to stop short of the runway.
Flexjet 560, hold right there, sir. Don't move. Hold position 560.
The near miss comes amid recent deadly incidents, including the collision of a plane and Black Hawk helicopter at Reagan National Airport, and amid DOJ cuts to the FAA. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has assured the public that cuts haven't impacted critical safety positions.
Tower Southwest 2504, how'd that happen?
Southwest 2504's pilot with a crucial question for air traffic control still unanswered. But the passenger tells us the flight crew deserves high marks for keeping everyone safe and settled. Quote, "Quick acting and calm under pressure," he said. Didn't signal any concern to passengers. And a spokesperson for Flexjet, that private plane company, sent us a statement saying they are also conducting a thorough investigation and will take any action to remediate whatever appeared to happen. But listening to that air traffic control audio, Andy, I heard no less than 4 times the air traffic controller saying, "Stop short, hold short, hold short." And then after the incident saying, "Pilot deviation, contact the air traffic control towers." So at least according to that audio, it appears that this was something that the pilot did not heed. But again, those investigations are just beginning.
Yeah, it is so stark to look at that video and also hear some of those audio channels coming through. And they ask the question that a lot of people are going to ask: how did that happen? And of course, you were talked with on social media with one of the passengers on this plane. Did there ever have an indication that the pilots, the crew on this plane, told the passengers what had happened during the flight?
No, in fact, that passenger on X, they didn't want their identity to be known. They reached out to me after the story first aired saying, "Wow, seeing how close we came really makes me appreciate the way the crew and the pilots handled it," because they came on the intercom after they thrust up into the air very calmly, said, "We're just going to do another approach here," and they didn't really say why. They didn't say that there was a plane in the middle of the runway that was crossing. So when the passengers disembarked, he told me that they had almost no awareness of how close they came to a disaster. And again, the pilots and the crew, the way they handled it, they just kept everybody calm, and no one in that moment knew exactly why they were lifting off again. They just knew they had to take another approach. So again, as that passenger had said to me, high marks here for the pilots and the crew at Southwest.
Yeah, that is so very true. And they didn't want to cause a panic on that second go round. Any concern for that?
Right.
Have you heard from any other passengers that weren't on this flight that are checking in for flights out of Chicago? Is there any concern from those people? Have you heard?
Yeah, I mean, the word trickled around here at Midway when we got here and we started doing our research. And yes, folks, it didn't scuttle their travel plans. They were concerned, if you put that into the broader context of what's happened nationwide. But I should say that we did look at some data from NASA, and they keep sort of a database of all these close calls or near misses, especially the ones that happen in the air around the airport. And about one or so tends to happen per year on average here at Midway, a little more over at O'Hare, the much larger airport here in Chicago. This is not an unheard of incident. This happens. We know it's happened nationwide a lot recently. There isn't much to indicate that this is connected to what's happening at the national level with the FAA. It does seem to be a pilot error. We don't know that for sure. It's a preliminary investigation right now. But as we heard from that air traffic control audio, the air traffic controllers were giving direction to both the Southwest plane and the private plane. So, again, we sort of await the results of those investigations. But this is unfortunately something it's funny. We were working on a much broader story and investigation into the near misses at O'Hare and Midway when this happened. And we were going to run that in a few days. But, you know, this happened to happen today. And so it's not a surprise. Everybody expressing gratitude that everyone escapes from this unscathed.
Yeah, and looking at it from that 30,000 feet perspective, that it is good that this is safe. Everyone landed safely. The pilots acted properly for Southwest. All right, Paris, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I look forward to this investigation and learning more about what you hear. Thanks again.
You bet, Andy. Thanks a lot. Take care.
All right, thank you so much. Great conversation there, as always, about a scary sight there at Midway Airport, and the video also making this incident or near miss more prominent. We also want to put up a post from Sean Duffy, the Department of Transportation Secretary, saying the NTSB and FAA are investigating this Chicago Midway International Airport incident. I will provide more updates once I have them. However, it is imperative that pilots follow the instructions of air traffic controllers. If they do not, their licenses will be pulled. And I just want to put up just this video one more time. A scary incident at Midway Airport there on the southwest side of the Windy City. The Southwest flight coming in to land at this runway, descending when a private plane that was told to stop, did not do so. So a brief touch and go for this Southwest flight. They did make a loop, ultimately landing back at this airport.